And I mean, and I think that's what speaks volumes is because like you said, so many people strive to be number one. They strive to be the leader, but they don't lead themselves first. Like you need to lead yourself before you can lead anybody else. And if that is leading yourself in a quote unquote follower role, that's huge. You know,
Yeah.
personal coaching for what is that? The bottom results. Yeah. But I mean,
Let me say, I just want to tell you this. Look at
yeah,
this. The first 6 chapters, what does it say? Can you read that?
I
It
can't
says
see it.
personal mastery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last 6 chapters are coaching and mentoring others. You have to lead yourself first. It just made me think of that. Sorry.
No, for sure. But I mean, but it's true though. And that's just lost because people think that that's something for some reason that, you know, they have to strive to be, you know, like you said, the Michael Jordans or the Tom Brady's or anything else. But, you know, one thing that ever like falls on deaf ears is like those guys still have coaches. You know, Tom Brady has a trainer. LeBron James has a shooting coach. You know, like
Yeah.
all of those guys still have coaches. And like, granted, yeah, they're the superstars, they're the quote unquote leaders, but they're still followers at that time. You know, so like they're it's very intertwined, but they lead themselves
Yeah.
first to know that, hey, yes, I am at X level, but to stay at that level, I need to work with somebody because I need help. Therefore, I need to follow somebody else's lead.
Coaching is so underrated. It is so underrated.
Yeah.
I mean, I think executive coaching, one of the questions I ask to CEOs and executives is, what are you doing to get better? What are you doing to grow? And then if they're like, well, I've got a network of guys that I hang out with, I'm like, no, do you have an executive coach? Do you have somebody who's outside, who understands your job, who's been where you've been, or at least knows what to do, who is coaching you through that? I mean, networks are great. We can knock things off of each other, but at the end of the day, you need somebody who's an expert in what you're doing. You
Yeah.
know,
I mean,
walk you through and be dedicated to you. I just think coaching is so underrated. I ask that too. Like, how are you going to train me? Like, how are you going to coach me? Don't hire me and then just let me go on my own. Like, why would you do that? You know, why don't you, are you going to coach me? Or are you going to hire somebody to coach? Who's coaching me as, you know, as a player on this team? And I think that's just so underrated.
Well, that was to that point, Trey. I went to the 10X conference, Grant Cardone's 10X conference in Vegas, and you know, Magic Johnson and Usher and just Dana White, just some of the speakers. You know, these guys that are up at the top of whatever they're doing, and you know, for Magic, it was basically like, oh, I got turned down by 17 banks because they're like, you're a great basketball player, but we don't trust you with a business loan. You know, to turn it into that. And he's just like, you know, I had to keep going. So he's just like, I flipped my mindset of like what I would do on the court to off the court. But he still talked about mentors that he reached out to for business. And, you know, here's a guy, all-time great athlete. And still all these guys had, you know, they never felt satisfied and never felt like, well, I've accomplished it all. I don't reach out to anybody for growth.
Right.
They were always pressing of what's next.
Yeah, it is so arrogant and prideful for me, for somebody to think they know it all. They don't need a coach. They don't need help. I think that's the true sign of humility, is when somebody goes, I still need to learn. I still need to grow. I still need to work, whatever that looks like, and put that in place. Because I don't care if you're, you know, CEO or at the very bottom. We all need somebody to guide us, to look at this from an outside perspective, you know, and see it from a different angle we're seeing it. Hopefully somebody's been there before who can give us tricks, tips, whatever we need to do, encouragement. Yeah, it's very underrated to me.
yeah, no, I mean, it is, you know, and I feel the same way. Is, you know, there's nothing wrong with being coaching, whether you need a mental coach, whether you need a spiritual coach, or a life coach in general. Like there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you need to be led.
Yeah.
Even the leaders need to be led. You know, and they need to be able to pivot, to realize that, hey, you know what? If I want to get my business to the next level, if I want to get my personal psyche to the next level, or my body to the next level. I mean, we hire personal trainers all the time, you know? So it's like, you need to be led. Leaders need to be led, you know, and once you make that choice and you take that pivot to take that on, I think like that just brings you to the next level, you know? And I just think that so many people get caught up in like, they think that, like you said, it shows weakness. And that's, I think showing weakness is not being vulnerable to the fact that you need help. That's more of a weakness than actually asking for help. In
Not
my
being
opinion.
self-aware.